All right, everybody, welcome to a very special edition of the Playmakers podcast this week. I am Topher. That is Neff.
Hi.
We are here. It is Monday. April is almost over, and the end of April means one thing. And what is that, Neff?
My birthday was yesterday.
Oh, shoot. It means two things. One, happy birthday to Neff. But for our purpose,
draft, baby.
yes, for our purposes today, the NFL draft. Would you agree that this is the best draft in pro sports? Yeah, I mean,
it's the most fun.
Yeah, the NBA draft is sometimes fun, but like, it's only fun for like 3 picks typically. You know, and this draft's also the most valuable. You know, because like you kind of expect the first round guy to be almost a Pro Bowler right away, especially for certain positions. So we got 32 picks. We're going to do a full first round mock draft. Disclaimer, some of these are what we're predicting. Some of these are what we wish would happen. It's not really super consistent, but it's our mock draft. We're having fun with it. We're getting excited for this weekend. Exchange pleasantries, but why bother? We got exciting stuff to jump right into. So let's just go off the bat. I feel like the first 2 picks are pretty much set in stone, permanent marker, as confident as you can be. We've talked about them for feels like months.
Dude got married like 2 weeks ago.
He did. Shout out Trevor Lawrence, married man, like a month ago, I think, something like that. So Trevor Lawrence is going to go to the Jags.
Like a few weeks ago.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is going to go to the Jags. Zach Wilson's going to go to the Jets. Us two, we are not huge on Zach Wilson, but I mean, it is what it is. It's what's going to happen, whether it works or not, to be determined. Those two don't matter. Neff, tell us about the debate going on for that third pick, though.
Okay, here's the thing. If you look at Justin Fields and you look at Trey Lance, Justin Fields is obviously a better quarterback. You got to look at the stats. You got to look at where he played. You got to look at his performance at his pro day compared to Trey Lance. I mean, you can compare them, but like one's just way out of the ballpark in a sense, right?
I mean, yeah, I would completely agree with that. To me, Justin Fields is clearly the third best quarterback, probably even in my eyes, the second best quarterback.
Justin Fields is more refined and just he's there all around. Trey Lance is just, I mean, I don't want to say that the dude is bad because he's not. He's certainly got a cannon, but I don't think he should go in the first at least 5.
Yeah.
Because there are some amazing players in this draft.
Yeah. So we, as you've kind of alluded to, we have Trey Lance going third, but I think it's also, so the talk is, I saw this quote, I believe, from Ian Rappaport on Twitter. The organization wants Trey Lance. Kyle Shanahan wants Mac Jones. So let's pretend Justin Fields doesn't exist for this debate. Who would you rather take at the third pick? Trey Lance, Mac Jones.
Okay, so let's pretend that they think that Jimmy G is not good, right? Then why would you take Mac Jones? Because he's just Jimmy G Jr.
Completely agree. I would understand getting Trey Lance because he's like a high upside guy, right? So if you have Jimmy G as your temporary starter and then you let Trey Lance develop with his physical tools, you know, he's a guy who'll rise above that. If you get Mac Jones, you're just going to get maybe slightly better Jimmy G, right? What's the point? Why would you make this trade?
No, slightly better Jimmy G. But Jimmy G sat behind Tom Brady in New England with Bill Belichick.
But I'm just saying, like, best case scenario with Mac Jones, he's not going to be that much better than Jimmy G. So I don't get the point of making this huge trade to get into the top 3 to take a okay to good quarterback. You know, I don't see him as an elite guy because he just doesn't have the physical tools to become that.
If they take Justin Fields, which they should, then now that's a team. That is a solid team. Because who they got? They got Devo Samuel. They got
Kittle.
Kendrick Bourne left to New England, right? He was there.
Yeah. But they have George Kittle still. They have those running backs.
They got Brandon Ayuk.
Yes, Ayuk. They have one of the best left tackles in football, Trent Williams. Mike McGlinchey on the other side is one of the best right tackles in football.
Oh, yeah, man. Like, that's a lethal offense right there.
Yeah, I mean, this is a win now team, right? They have the pieces. I think for a young quarterback, this is a perfect situation to go to. Because unlike if you go to New York and Jacksonville, where there's other issues around you as well, like you go into this team, what's wrong? You got a good coach, good organization.
Yeah.
Everything's in your wheelhouse there, which is why I think Justin Fields is perfect, because all your questions with him will probably get erased by the team around him. I don't know, but we expect Trey Lance. They might go Mac Jones, which would be even more disappointing. But all right, number 4. There's a lot of talk about this
Kyle
one.
Pitts, baby.
Yeah, it should be Kyle Pitts. I mean, assuming Atlanta doesn't want a quarterback, which I don't know, maybe they do. There's a lot of good dudes, and they might want to get Matt Ryan's successor while they have the opportunity. It could happen. If not, if they want to keep building for now and the future, Kyle Pitts is the best. I'd say he's the best non-quarterback of any position. Would you agree with that?
Like Dan Mullen said, he's a unicorn, bro.
He really is. I mean, no one should be that big and that fast with that good football skill. It just doesn't make sense how he works.
What kind of comparison would you make for him?
I don't know if you can make a comparison. I would say you can't. I don't think he really compares well to any tight end.
Shannon Sharp?
Oh, that's not a bad one. But I'm thinking the only guys you compare him to are like maybe Shannon Sharp, like a slightly slower Calvin Johnson. Like that's the level we're talking about. We're not talking about like a good tight end. We're talking about just like ridiculous.
What if the next team just says, you know what, Kyle, we're putting you out at wideout?
He could do it. He's a little slow, but he's so big and so smart. It might not matter. All right. So Kyle Pitts, the Falcons. We got our top 4. Closing out the top 5. We had a little bit of discussion about this pick, but who are the Bengals taking to build around with Joe Burrow?
I know we were talking about Jamar Chase because they want to bring back they want to bring the boys back, That'd be so cool, right? Having your teammate on your NFL team with you, like straight out of college. But Topher and I think they should take the offensive tackle out of Oregon, PENEI SEWELL. Is that how you use?
I think it's Penny.
Never know how to say his name.
I think that's close. We'll go with it.
PENEI SEWELL.
Close enough.
Sewell.
The point is he's a beast.
Just because, yeah. The point is he's a freaking monster truck.
You want to know how good he is? This is how good he is. I remember the postseason of 2019.
We're gonna tell a story.
Postseason 2019 college football / like really early preseason. Like when we were talking about 2020 college football before the pandemic, right? Like your way too early top 25 stuff. PENEI SEWELL was a legitimate Heisman contender at that stage of the season. Coming off his junior season with Oregon, people were putting him into the Heisman talk as an offensive tackle. And no, I'm not making that up. That was real and completely justified. I think in his entire college career, which he started almost every game for 3 seasons, I think he gave up 0 sacks and like 4 pressures. Something ridiculous like that. And on the top side, on the plus side of that, if you watch his highlights as a run blocker, he has a Quentin Nelson like speed and kill the man in front of me mentality. That is actually ridiculous. So if they don't take him, someone else will, and they will get an all-pro left tackle right away.
Only the Colts were in the running for the top 5.
How crazy would that be?
On that'd be insane.
The left side with PENEI SEWELL and Quentin Nelson.
Jesus Christ.
That'd be terrifying.
Right?
So it's just a bit
like even if you were Aaron Donald, like be scared.
That would be horrifying. Could you imagine them running like a right sweep and you pull both of those dudes? Oh Lord. Oh God.
Dude.
Yeah. I think he's probably most people's favorite player in the draft, mine included, just because he's a truly dominant tackle, which are always fun to have. All right, what we got next?
We got the Miami Dolphins next. This is the one we were talking about that could be flip-flopped. Topher?
Yeah. So I expect a receiver here. or some kind of offensive weapon. If Sewell falls, they should take him because duh. And if not, I think it comes down to a wide receiver. And in that case, it should be one of Jamar Chase and DeVonta Smith. Like we were talking about with the Bengals, it would be fun to reunite former college teammates and get DeVonta Smith with Tua. I think that could be cool. But I think most people would agree Jamar Chase is the consensus number one wide receiver in this draft.
Didn't DeVonta Smith also say, I like playing with Mac Jones better?
Yeah, he did inadvertently say that, which actually did factor into my thinking with this pick, to be honest. I mean, I feel like that'd be almost kind of awkward with them in the locker room. It's like, do you say that guy was better than me? You know.
Dude, and Tua's bigger than DeVonta, right?
Yeah, which is not necessarily a compliment on Tua's size, to be fair. But yeah, Jamar Chase, he's pretty complete. He's got the physical tools, the technical tools. He should be a number one receiver in the NFL. And then I'll just do the next pick right away. Detroit. They got Jared Goff from the Rams and the Matt Stafford trade. I assume they're going to build around Goff, whatever you think of him.
Wah, wah, wah.
With his contract and with his age, they're going to probably build around him at least for a year or two just to see what happens, just to see if it's worth it. And in that case, I expect them to give him weapons around him. They could go offensive line. There are plenty of other good tackles, but I have them going with DeVonta Smith, Alabama, who I like quite a lot. I know I made a quip about his size. I don't think it's going to matter. He's just really good. Good football players are good football players at the end of the day. So, yeah, those are two receivers back to back. Miami taking Jamar Chase, and then Detroit helping out Jared Goff getting DeVonta Smith.
Yeah, I totally agree. Just because Jared Goff kind of needs someone after Kenny Golladay be gone. They re-signed Marvin Jones, right?
I think so, but we might be wrong.
Okay. Anyway, on to the next pick. We got the Carolina Panthers at the 8th pick of the draft, and we think with receivers like DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, and the new pickup on Sam Darnold, I don't think they really need anything except the lineman. So Topher and I really thought Rashawn Slater from Northwestern deserved that spot. Like, I mean, dude's a beast. So.
Yeah, he's the consensus number 2 tackle in a pretty good tackle class. I mean, if you look at the top big boards, you got 4 or 5 offensive tackles on here. And then even below that, you got plenty of dudes who could make some noise in the league. You know, it just solidifies the offensive line, helps Sam Darnold. I mean, if you protect him, he had a lot of trouble with that in New York. Yeah. If you struggle, if you protect him, as you say, they have good weapons around him. You'll get McCaffrey back healthy. You know, just getting more help on the offensive line is going to make all their pieces gel a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We got a big one next, right?
And then, yeah, big one next. Denver Broncos. Topher and I didn't want to put him down here just because he's a really good player. Justin Fields at number 9 for the Denver Broncos. Obviously, Drew Lock is not the move. Let's be honest.
This isn't.
Drew Lock was promising at some point. Not anymore. I feel like Drew Lock and Justin Herbert were like this at the same spot where everyone's like, he could be good, but he could be bad. And then Drew Lock ended up being bad, but Justin Herbert ended up being good. Anyway, we've already said what we had to say about Justin Fields. We just don't think he should go at number 9, but we think he will just because the Broncos need a quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, they have wide receivers. They got Jerry Jeudy. They got that's it.
They have the kid from Penn State whose name is escaping me. I think Hamilton is the one they have. And then they still have Cortland Sutton.
Oh, Cortland Sutton.
Yeah. Noah Fant,
I forgot about
tight
him.
end.
He was injured, right?
Yeah, he's been injured for the past year. Noah Fant, tight end.
Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon, running back.
And did Philip Lindsay re-sign with them?
I think he signed somewhere else. I don't remember where, but I don't think he's there. But the point, and they have an offensive line.
Yeah.
They also they have an offensive line that has struggled at times, but has started to improve. They've gotten young pieces in. I believe Garrett Broles, the left tackle, he's pretty good. And then they still have a solid, if aging, defense that has good pieces all around it. So you add a legitimately good quarterback, which we both believe Justin Fields to be, that certainly levels up this team. All right, Neff, do the next two in a row for us.
Yeah. The next pick in the draft, number 10, right? Yeah, number 10. We got the Dallas Cowboys. We got Patrick Surtain going at number 10 because let's be honest, the Cowboys were an absolute train wreck last year. I think they lost Byron Jones to Miami the offseason prior. Really left a little spot empty out on that secondary. I mean, they have Trayvon Diggs, right?
I believe
Is that
so.
where he is?
Mhm.
I mean, Patrick Surtain is easily the best cornerback in the draft. So Topher and I just wanted to put him there because, again, the Cowboys needed a secondary last year. I mean, people be putting like 40 points on him at the start of the season. So, yeah. And then the next pick, we got the New York Giants selecting linebacker Micah Parsons out of Penn State. Dude is an absolute monster. I love the guy. He's amazing. If you guys never saw him play, you missed out because he is quite something. And I think in they franchise tagged that D lineman, right?
Leonard Williams.
Leonard Williams. And then they got a nice secondary too. They have James Bradbury, right? They got James Bradbury.
Sounds right.
I just think that linebacker would come in handy for the Giants just because they don't have someone manning the middle of the field, the biggest area of the field, for the offense or for the defense. So they need a captain at the helm.
Yeah, I agree with that. First, I'll talk quickly about the Cowboys. As you say, the defense was super leaky, especially early. There's a chance they target Parsons. I don't know if you saw today, Sean Lee retired, their linebacker core. So maybe they want a linebacker. But I still think cornerback is.
Did Sean Lee really play?
Not really. He's been injured pretty much every year for a decade. But Patrick Surtain, as you say, there's a need at cornerback. Really shore up their secondary.
I mean, these wide receivers are evolving. Like they're getting faster,
Exactly,
faster and faster each year.
And you'll see as we
get
need
a good corner.
You see through the rest of this draft, that's a theme. Really good and really athletic wide receivers, really good and athletic cornerbacks, because that's just the way the game is going, both physically and tactically. And then Micah Parsons, totally having like a good both leader, rangy tackler, smart, athletic presence in the middle of the field. It just makes your defense a billion times better.
I mean, you saw, obviously the Steelers defense isn't bad. Steelers defense almost never has been bad. But you saw what happened when they lost Ryan Shazier.
Exactly. It took a step down.
He was like, yeah, they took a step down when Shaz went out.
And looking past that, so they effectively replaced Shazier with Devin Bush the other year. And he was playing really well last season. But when he got hurt, they lose that interior linebacker presence who can make plays sideline to sideline. When you lose that, your defense takes a huge hit. And then if you think of, we've seen in the past decade, what happens when you draft a guy like this, even outside of the Steelers, Luke Kuechly, what he did for the Panthers defense. Your team, the Colts, getting Darius Leonard, what that's done to their defense. It's just an underrated value position. And when you have a guy this good, that's a perfect match.
Dude, Devin White for the Bucks.
Yep.
That defense really just juiced.
True. Very good example. I didn't even think of that. I think the next couple aren't super duper interesting, so I'll just run through them real quick. I have Jalen Waddle to the Eagles. Maybe that's a little bit of a hot take. I don't know. I feel like they should just give Jalen Hurts a chance at least for a year, just see if it's worth it.
I feel like the Eagles should just fold as an organization. Replace them with someone else.
Oh, gosh. They're kind of a mess. But, again, give Jalen Hurts a shot. bring in a talented receiver. Waddle's kind of fallen under the radar, I think, because he was hurt a lot of last year.
The news on the Eagles, Nick Sirianni
Oh, God.
would challenge prospects to rock, paper, scissors to test their competitive edge.
All right, let's go off on a Nick Sirianni tangent. So I remember his introductory press conference.
Yeah.
And how terrible it was and how he sounded like an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this does not make me feel any better about him. Yeah. It's just all
that
downhill.
dude was our offensive coordinator, but we didn't care because Frank Reich is calling the plays.
Exactly.
So.
What did he even do? Honestly, full stop. Whatever. It's stupid. I like Jalen Waddle. Get back to the actual draft pick. He's fast, like super fast. Really dynamic playmaker. Just gives weapons to a team that does not have weapons.
If he gets hurt again, I think that's going to be a bust. Just because, excuse me, dudes that fast, the more they get injured, the worse they get, in a sense. Like, that's what happened to Percy Harvin.
Yeah, that's a really fair point. You know, these injuries, especially lower body injuries to guys who are so athletic, it really diminishes what they can do on a football field. I have faith that
Cordarrelle Patterson got injured once, but he's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
I honestly kind of think those comparisons discredit Waddle a little bit because he's not just speed. He's just an overall playmaker. You know, he could develop into a legit number one receiver. I see no reason why it couldn't happen. Following that, the 13th pick, Los Angeles Chargers. Another Alabama guy, Christian Barmore, considered the top interior defensive line guy. I don't know. The Chargers are a pretty well-built team, to be honest with you. They just are bad at winning games, not necessarily playing games. Their defense is a lot of edge.
Yeah, Anthony lit. Sorry.
Oof, you hate to see it. But back to their defense, they have a lot of edge rushing, but add a little bit more on the inside will obviously uplift them. I don't have too much more to say about that. And then the Vikings, they're not going to go for a quarterback. They have Kirk Cousins for a couple more years. If they do want a quarterback, they'll draft them later in the draft.
Sorry.
They don't need skill guys. They're set there. Their defense is a little leaky. Maybe they target somebody.
Dude, Adam Thielen is an absolute baller.
He is, man. Like the best number 2 receiver money can buy. Yeah, so regardless, I have the Vikings taking an offensive lineman, Christian Darrisaw from Virginia Tech. Not someone I'm super familiar with, but he has received pretty high praise from people I trust. And then I offensive tackles are always super valuable. If you get a good left tackle, your franchise is set as much as they are with a good quarterback. What do we have as the 15th pick? This is a big one.
What do I have to tell it? You know I hate him. And number 15, we got the New England Patriots selecting Mac Jones. Boom, there we go.
How perfect would that be, huh?
Shut up. Bro, it's like having Tom Brady, except not as good. Easy. It's just as simple as that. Mac Jones is a system quarterback, just like Tom Brady, except Tom Brady's actually, smart and good. No offense to Mac Jones. It just won't work. A system quarterback is only good if the system is good, and the system isn't even good right now. So they can take Mac Jones, but he won't be good for another 3-4 years.
Yeah, I mean, I've expressed how I feel about Mac Jones earlier. I will just say I find it very funny that in this situation, their quarterback room would be Jarrett Stidham, Auburn, Cam Newton, Auburn, Mac Jones, Alabama. I think that's pretty funny. All right, run us through the next couple picks here.
I'm going to just rush through these next few. At number 16, we got the Arizona Cardinals taking cornerback J.C. Horn from South Carolina. Which isn't a bad pick. I think J.C. Horn is a solid cornerback. Played pretty well at South Carolina. Definitely the second best cornerback in the draft right now. I know people are talking about Caleb Farley. Just no. I mean, I think J.C. Horn has really worked at his position and where he wants to be, and just overall his like athleticism at cornerback.
Also, I just want to note real
And
quick, he's a potential like long-term heir to Patrick Peterson, who is now in Minnesota. So there's a little bit of a need there, both now and into the future. He fills that.
yeah, just because also, I know I said I was going to rush these next few. It's just J.C. Horn. I had to stop a sec. I was not aware that I had to lower the page. Topher and I have like a shared document that we have. So anyway, with the addition of J.J. Watt, you got Hassan Reddick. You got who are their linebackers? I don't think they have the best linebackers. Right?
It's functional.
Yeah. Anyway, they have Isaiah Simmons. Simmons, that's the last name. And then Buda Baker, which J.C. Horn would definitely be a great addition to that young secondary core, because Buda Baker and Isaiah Simmons are already making plays. Like they're already playing really well. So you add a good cornerback to that, and it's solid.
Okay, wait. I said to have you read the next couple, but because the next one is my favorite player in the draft, I know I said Penei Sewell, but shut up. I changed my mind. Next guy is my favorite one. You can read the next like 8. I don't care. I just need to give my love here. Number 17, Las Vegas Raiders. They should take linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah from Notre Dame. This dude is one of the most athletic people alive. That's pretty much all I have to say. He's just a freak of nature. He's fast. He hits unbelievably hard. He's versatile. I mean, he was covering actual wide receivers this year. He was playing all over the field. Cover wideouts, cover tight ends, cover running backs, get pressure on the quarterback, make plays sideline to sideline as a tackler. I understand people have Parsons higher. We have Parsons higher. I'm fine with that. But Owusu-Koramoah is an absolute freak, a playmaker, a stud. I loved watching him at Notre Dame. He was one of the most exciting players that teams had in a while. Yeah, that's all I have to say. I love Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Great pickup for the Raiders. Gives them just an infusion of energy to their defense. You can read the next few. That's all I had to say.
Next pick, we got the Miami Dolphins taking Kadarius Toney out of Florida. I don't know how I feel about this one. Kadarius Toney is kind of a freak. He's got some explosive speed. He's crazy athletic. We just have yet to see him reach his full potential at Florida. I think he has a higher ceiling than some of the wide receivers that went before him, maybe. Possibly Jalen Waddle, higher than him. I know it's a big gap, but every time Kadarius Toney touches the ball, something happens. Like there's no contest. Topher and I were also talking about this one, maybe putting him at 21, but we'll tell you guys when we get there. I don't like this one personally, just because we haven't seen the Dolphins talking to Kadarius Toney a lot. They haven't in the news. There just hasn't been anything linking them.
All right. Do you know who is being talked about there?
I know they were talking to I want to say a linebacker, an outside linebacker.
Okay.
But there were no outside linebackers that were promising in the first draft, in the first round.
Yeah.
So I know they were talking to someone on defense just because they have that Van Noy. No, they released Van Noy, right? They got Jerome Baker. They got Xavier Howard, Byron Jones. I know they wanted the safety just because their safeties are not great.
Okay. Well, I'm not the foremost Dolphins expert here, but if they target that defense, a guy we have later who is a clear first round talent, I just had no idea where to put him. Trayvon Moehrig. Currently, we have him 26 to the Browns. he could rise up here. That could easily happen.
Yeah. So we were having trouble with these next few picks just because this is where the margin of error just completely just because how solid the first 5 picks are, and maybe the first 10, possibly the first 20, and then after 20 or after like 15, it just goes down. Like you don't know where everything is going to go. A 19 Topher put Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota. I haven't really looked at Rashad Bateman at all. This is all you.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big receiver, which is a little different than the guys who've gone before him in this draft. I just think Washington need weapons like really bad. Their offensive line situation is okay. They're going to roll with the quarterbacks they have. They might draft
Taylor Heineke.
Exactly. There's a chance they draft a guy either here or like in the second or third round, but I expect them to be a quarterback drafting team like next year or the year after that. So I just think they need more weapons. They need more talent on offense, to be honest with you. I know they signed Curtis Samuel, I think, in the offseason. I'm not a huge fan of Curtis Samuel. I'm not the biggest Terry McLaurin guy either. I do like Rashad Bateman. He's also just different than those guys. He's a lot bigger, more physical than those dudes. Yeah,
I mean,
that's all I have
it's also
to say
good to have it on offense.
What was that?
Terry McLaurin's just fast. I know Curtis Samuel is also fast. But Curtis Samuel is reliable.
Yeah, I just like Bateman. He's a counter to that. He's just a nice, big physical body as well. All right, who we got next?
Next, we got the Chicago Bears picking up Caleb Farley. There's been some talks about Caleb Farley going other places and going higher in the draft. Topher and I decided to put him at number 20, going to the Chicago Bears with the loss of Kyle Fuller.
Yeah.
Kyle Fuller signed with what? The Broncos.
Yeah, they had to cut him because of cap reasons. So there's a clear need at cornerback. There's like a bunch of dudes at this point.
I mean, they got a really good defense.
They do. They just need more corners if they after cutting Kyle Fuller. But I don't think there's a bunch of dudes from this point on, and really you can go even up higher. Some people like Farley more than JC Horn, but I really think after those two, there's a lot of dudes here that they could. It's just going to be a who did this team prefer. We're just picking the highest rated bunch.
I saw a meme where like everyone in the Broncos organization was telling them not to take a cornerback, but do not take freaking Caleb Farley. He's like, okay. Turns to the dude. He's like, we'll take Caleb Farley. And they're like, dude, what the hell did we just say?
All right, Neff, the next one is all you.
The next one, we got the Colts at the 21st pick of the draft. This is where the Kadarius Toney situation comes into play, because I know the Colts were talking to Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney had also went to, I think, the Chargers. I'm not sure where else he went. I am aware that the Colts were in talks with him, because they do have Ty. They have Michael Pittman. They've got Zach Pascal, and they got Paris Campbell. But Paris Campbell, all 2 years he's been with the Colts, he's been injured. So Kadarius Toney is kind of like taking Paris Campbell, except less injury prone. Hopefully. Cross fingers. But right now we have Rondale Moore from Purdue. He's just ecstatic. Like he's a freak of he's another freak of nature that we've seen on the field, just really fast. Dude at Purdue is insane. I think he was one of the reasons that Purdue was able to be where they were as a team these past few years. So it could go either way. It could be Kadarius Toney or Rondale. Colts also need a tight end, but there aren't really any great tight ends this year, except for Kyle Pitts. So that's all I gotta say. You want me to take the next one?
No, I'll get the next few here. 22 Tennessee Titans. We have Azeez Ojulari. A lot of people say him as the top edge guy. This is not really a very defensive line or edge rusher heavy draft. With that being said, he could also go higher just because edge rushers are so highly valued. Regardless, Tennessee have really struggled for a long time getting consistent edge pressure. It's just another guy who can help that role. I don't have too much to say. Lanky, athletic, not the most production in college, but he clearly shows high upside in the NFL. Number 23, New York Jets. We have wide receiver Terrace Marshall. Maybe there's other guys you could
He's
pick
not
here
bad.
as well. But I like him a lot. I like his frame. He's a big receiver, but still quick. He was kind of the forgotten man in 2019 LSU's offense as the fourth receiver, but he was still putting up good numbers, still looked good. And he gives Zach Wilson a pretty legit weapon in New York. And then I'll round it out here. 24 Pittsburgh Steelers. I have offensive tackle from USC. I'm not going to even pronounce his name. It'll probably
Vera
be
Tucker, last name.
Yeah, Vera Tucker is the last name. Aliha Vera Tucker. I don't know.
Aliga, Aliga. We're not sure.
Not entirely sure. I don't want to be too rude. USC, they need help on offensive line, real bad.
Oh yeah. Everyone's like, Steelers should take Najee Harris.
No, stupid. They don't need him.
Najee Harris. No, get out of here.
No.
What the?
You can get a good running back later. What you can't get necessarily is good offensive line. Play Vera Tucker on the left, play him on the right, play him at guard. They just need a good body on the offensive line. Vera Tucker is one of the more higher rated line prospects here. All right, now if you can take the next
receivers. Few here. I'm just gonna rush through these just because these last ones it's not really exciting anymore at this point in the draft. 25th pick, we got defensive end out of Michigan, Kwity Paye. Did he say his name? I mean, Jaguars pretty much just need everything at this point. That doesn't need any explaining. We talked about this earlier. The Cleveland Browns taking Trayvon Moehrig out of TCU at 26. He could easily be switched out for Miami earlier or any team earlier because safeties are always nice. Then we got the Baltimore Ravens. This is the one I wanted to talk about with you. Number 27, Baltimore Ravens taking Elijah Moore out of Ole Miss. Elijah Moore could easily go higher. Easily. Kid is talented. He's amazing. I think he's one of my favorite players in this first round, like in this draft. Just because he's so exciting. He did everything on the field for Ole Miss. I mean, well, not everything, but you know what I mean. He was out there. He was making plays. He was doing what he was supposed to do. He's just I'm speechless when I talk about Elijah Moore. He's just so cool. He's amazing. Matt Corral really I bet Matt Corral was like, hey, yo, you're awesome. Just many random points in this season. Do you agree with me in this whole thing? I mean, just Elijah Moore.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm quite as high on it as you are, but I really like his game. He's fun to watch, explosive athlete. He was used a lot by Ole Miss. He was the kind of guy who will come up with somewhere between 10 and 20 catches every single game. He's a little small, but that's not really that big a deal these days.
He's like the lock and key receiver when you need someone.
Exactly. He can make big plays, but he's also a guy I would trust to just be a reliable third down guy as well. He's going to go in the first round. You could swap him out with Marshall. You could swap him out with Moore. You could swap him out with Tony. But I expect him to be a first round pick.
And then next we have the New Orleans Saints taking defensive end Jalen Phillips out of Miami. I mean, I don't really know what I don't think the Saints really need much. They
No.
just need a quarterback.
They need a quarterback of the
Um,
future. I don't see a point in drafting a guy like Kyle Trask in the first round because you can get him later. I just think
mhm.
because they lost Hendrickson to the Bengals in free agency, they have guys on the ends. They already have depth, but just getting another piece in there.
Yeah. Next we have the Green Bay Packers taking offensive tackle Alex Leatherwood, finally helping out.
Yep.
A-Rod. I mean, all the good receivers will be gone by now.
Yeah, exactly. I just want one more note
So-
before you get to the last three on Alex Leatherwood. I think a lot of people project him to shift inside in the pros, so guard. So he has a little bit of positional versatility because Packers don't need a true left tackle. Because
Yeah, they got who they got? David Bakhtiari?
who's like one of the best.
No.
Yeah, Bakhtiari.
Okay.
Who's one of the best left tackles in the league. But they just get more, build up the rest of the line. Alex Leatherwood's a guy who could play on the right, play on the inside, just a little more versatility on their defense or on their offensive line.
30, we got the Bills taking Greg Newsome, cornerback in Northwestern. Again, the Bills are a Super Bowl contender. Don't really need much. Their cornerbacks could use a little something. We all saw what happened at the end of that Bills-Cardinals game where Nuke Hopkins literally just gassed 3 cornerbacks. No, 3 DBs. They weren't all cornerbacks. There was a safety. Don't worry. Then we got Kansas City taking Asante. Oh my God, they need anything on defense. They don't have a defense. This is what I'm sorry to the Chiefs. They just don't have a freaking defense. They need everything on defense. They need a good rusher.
I will just counter
linebacker.
Hold on. I will counter that. Say they actually have a solid defensive line with Jones, the inside guy, and Clark on the outside.
Yeah, but how old are they?
They're getting older, but they're still young enough that it's not an issue. Linebacker, they could maybe use a little something. But for me, it really comes down to like they have some guys on the outside, but like you saw it happen in the Super Bowl.
Brashad Breeland, L'Jarius Sneed, Tyrann Mathieu.
But I mean,
you saw free safety
again. You saw what happened in the Super Bowl. They need secondary help from somewhere. Be it a third guy, a third corner, a guy that can play at safety. They just need body there.
And the Bucks don't really need much. They have a really just good team.
Yeah.
We have them taking defensive end Jason Owe out of Penn State. Is that how you say his name? Owe?
I think so.
Or Owe? I think it's Owe. Sounds cooler. Yeah, because they got Shaq Barrett. They got JPP, Vita Vea.
They have those guys.
Dominican Sue.
Which is why and as you say, they don't need anything really. They have a well-built team.
They just need depth.
Exactly.
Because they have some older players on their team.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
I think they could afford to get rid of Carlton Davis.
All right. So
sorry, Carlton Davis.
I heard you mention it earlier, but we have a position by position breakdown of that mock draft, right? So we got 5 quarterbacks, which is a lot, 8 wide receivers, which is a whole lot. Just Kyle Pitts, tight end, 5 offensive tackles, only 1 interior lineman, 4 edge rushers, a couple linebackers, 5 corners, and a safety. And as we're talking about, like these are the value positions in the NFL: quarterback, offensive tackle, edge rusher, and then increasingly wide receiver and corner.
I think I'm not sure how the running game is going to go in the future, just because everything's about passing these days. You got dudes like Patrick Mahomes and Dak Prescott absolutely slinging the rock out here. It's like the interior game in basketball. There's no game. It's literally Steph Curry pulling up from the logo and drilling it. It's just
I mean, with what, especially on that note, what we do see from the running game these days, it's not typically like one superstar guy. It's like a bunch of dudes who are versatile. They can do different roles. They share the workload.
Like Nick Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt,
Exactly.
Marlon Mack, JT.
So that's why we don't have Najee Harris or Travis Etienne, any of those dudes in the first round. It's just the value is not worth it for NFL teams anymore.
You can take them in the second draft. Like, they'll be there in the second round.
With that being said, I feel like there is a GM stupid enough to take a running back in the first round. I just don't expect it.
Pittsburgh.
Could happen. Do you have any other big takeaways here from the mock draft before we get out of here? Yeah, so we will be watching this intently. It's always fun. Again, it's just fun. It's fun. We get to build some drama, pretend every one of these guys is going to be a superstar. Have some fun. We do have a housekeeping announcement.
No, do you have Playmakers?
Oh, yeah. Okay, we can get to that first. I don't know if you do, but I have one. It's actually the same guy.
I swear, if you take mine.
Who do you have? I'm going to let you go first, actually. Go ahead.
I have Steph Curry breaking the record in most threes made in a single month of games. 83 so far. So Steph Curry, best shooter in NBA history. Just gonna say that.
Yep. I don't think that's not controversial. That's valid.
Not the Klay Thompson though.
No, Steph Curry is the best shooter in NBA history in terms of volume,
Yeah.
in terms of accuracy. It's just not even close. I have one guy, same person I said last week, and he just went out and did even better this week. That's Javier Hernandez, Chicharito of the LA Galaxy. He had 2 goals last week. He followed it up with 3 goals this week. Hat trick against the New York Red Bulls. Flying start for the former Mexican, potentially future Mexican international striker as well. Great week for him. Great week for MLS. Great week for sports. It's always a great week for sports.
I'll throw in another one in there that's off the top of my head. Julius Randle, New York Knicks. The last time a Knicks player scored 30 plus with, 10 rebounds in a game was Carmelo Anthony in 2003. So 2013. Sorry, my bad. So congrats to Julius Randle, Steph Curry, and Javier Chicharito Hernandez. Javier.
All right. As I was alluding to earlier before I completely forgot we were going to do Playmakers, quick housekeeping announcement. We are both college students in the process of finishing said semester of college, and also Neff is in the process of relocating back to Central Florida from the Midwest. So we are going to have to take a weeks-long hiatus from Playmakers podcasting. There's a chance I will be uploading some content. I have some ideas in my personal idea well, but you will not see us here in this format for a little bit.
We'll all be posting the throwbacks on Thursdays. I forgot to do that last week, and I also forgot Trivia Tuesday, whether it's from me or from Topher. We may record a little short, maybe post it on IGTV. Right? We'll figure it out. You guys won't not hear from us. Yeah, we'll let you know when we're both back in town. Next time you see us, it's a high chance of both of us being in the same room. I have an office set up. So, yeah. If you guys are excited, I'm excited. It'd be awesome to have Topher and I in the same room, right?
Oh yeah, man.
So yeah, I think that's all we gotta say.
Yeah.
This has been the Playmakers Podcast, episode 14? 14, I think.
Who knows anymore? But we keep trucking along.
Yeah. We keep track of that in the name of the. Anyway, this has been the Playmakers Podcast. We will see you guys when we see you. We'll be back sooner than you think. So. See you guys.